Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have a brand new episode in our card Spotlight series in which I look at a card that I feel is underplayed or underappreciated in Commander and discuss its merits. But before we do that, just a quick reminder to please click subscribe if you enjoy these videos. It's the only way the YouTube algorithm really notices me, and we're currently growing the channel and it helps me a lot. Much appreciated. And today in our next installment of Spoiler Spotlight, we're going to be talking about Contaminant Grafter from the Phyrexia Obi-Wan Commander decks. It's a 4 colorless, 1 green, 5/5 creature Phyrexian druid with Trample, Toxic 1, and whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to one or more players, proliferate. And then it also has Corrupted. At the beginning of your end step, if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Wow, this is a really strong card, and I think it's very interesting because it's done in a way that it can be obviously very good in a toxic deck or in a deck that's looking to give poison counters, but it can also be really good, and all the abilities can be turned on even if this is the only card that deals with poison in your entire deck. So I think that's very interesting. Now let's go over this part by part. Obviously the body is really good. It's a 5/5 with Trample and Toxic 1 for 5 mana. That's really solid. The mana requirement isn't even that intensive because it only needs 1 green pip. And then the first ability is worded a bit weird. It says whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat to 1 or more players, proliferate. What does that mean? That means that this is generally only going to trigger once during each combat, unless you have first strike damage or double strike damage hitting a player, in which case it can trigger up to twice, but usually any combat step can only trigger this once. That being said, it is very easy to trigger because any creature connecting is going to allow it to happen. Getting a proliferate every turn on combat damage is really solid, and this basically has pseudo haste because you can drop it and then connect with some other creature and you immediately get to proliferate. Now that might not be the best if you're not playing a toxic deck, but if you're putting this in a deck, you probably have enough +1/+1 counters or other counter synergies where this is going to be quite good to drop on turn 5 and just swing with your creatures. As long as you have any sort of a board, that should be amazing. And then you have the Corrupted ability, which is obviously awesome. Again, it's only going to happen once per turn, but it's basically Chulane's trigger. Chulane is an absolutely busted magic card, of course. With him, part of the reason he's so strong is that you can do it with every creature you play. This is only going to work once per turn. Still, that's very good on top of everything else the card is already doing. Now, of course, you have to have somebody corrupted for this to work, but why was I saying earlier that this card seems good even in a non-corrupted deck or in a non-poison deck? It's because it's a 5/5 Trample with Toxic 1. So it should be very easy to sneak in 1 point of damage with this to any opponent. At that point, you've got an opponent with 2 poison counters on it because it immediately proliferates. So all you need is another proliferate effect, which if you're running this, your deck should have quite a few of. And then suddenly the Corrupted ability is online. So even if you're not running a poison deck, even if you're just running this guy alone as your only toxic card in the whole deck, these abilities can all be turned on with relatively small effort. And even more so, I think the thing that makes this really obnoxious is that it can just be a wincon by itself in any regular deck. As long as it connects once and you have enough proliferate in your deck, you could just kill someone with this. Just connecting for 1 damage at any point in the game can eventually just be proliferated into 10 poison counters, and it looks like there's going to be so much proliferate upcoming in this set that this card seems like it's going to be central in a lot of those decks. This is obviously going to be an all-star in any corrupted or toxic deck, but I think it fits into any proliferate deck as well. It's going to be really good in the new Izuri. It's going to be really good in any deck that cares about counters, honestly, because just being able to get a free proliferate every turn is probably enough. But it's not even that difficult to turn on the Corrupted ability, so I feel like this is just going to be very good in a lot of different decks, and I'm looking forward to see how it plays out. So there you have it. That has been our card spotlight for today. What are your thoughts on this card? Let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care. Woo!